Good evening, everyone. First off, we just want to say thank you so much to everyone for making it out tonight. Everybody knows the craziness that's been going on the last few days. And the fact that you all made it so intentional to come out and join this evening with us, it just means so much to us. So that's first off. Just thank you to everybody for making this happen. It couldn't be better. So as most of you know, Sucrus and I's relationship has a strong foundation in music. We were in band together, and actually, when we kind of started talking to each other is when we had a drill set next to each other. And for those of you that don't know, you're not supposed to talk next to the people that you have drill set next to. But that rule didn't apply to us. I'm actually completely convinced that I fell in love with Sucrus through music and watching him play and perform, because he's just such an incredible musician. That being said, in our actual time in our relationship together, we haven't had many opportunities for me to watch Sucrus play as my boyfriend or my fiance, just due to the circumstances of life. So this is kind of a special request that I had for Sucrus when we first started wedding planning. I asked him if him and his groomsmen would prepare a jazz set, because I just love watching him perform so much. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to my husband.
Hey everybody. So before we start, what I'm going to do is briefly introduce the band. What I wanted to say was, everybody that's on the stage or who's going to be playing tonight is someone I've played with throughout either high school or college. We've traveled across the country together, whether it's for musical events like marching band competitions and high school jazz trips or college jazz trips, or more personal events like going to each other's bachelor parties or being each other's groomsmen. I have fond memories of everybody who's playing tonight, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to play with tonight. This set is going to take us basically through Ashley and I's relationship throughout the years. So, we're going to play 4 songs. The first song we're starting off with represents how Ashley and I started our relationship. This song illustrates the idea that love can strike at any moment, to anyone, at any time. For us, this happened when I traveled to Finland the summer after I graduated high school. I was in a kayak in the middle of a serene lake, and in the middle of the night, for some reason I found myself missing Ashley. We had been just friends for about 2 years, but in this moment, I felt something more. To me, this moment felt like the start of our relationship, and this song represents that moment when love struck. Love struck us unexpectedly, and like the title of this song says, it could happen to you.
That's my husband!
All right. Also, I want to mention our first, like this group of people has never played together like this group. Our only rehearsal as a group was this morning at 9 a.m. for 45 minutes. So, like, huge shout out to these guys for taking us. So the next song we're playing tonight is it's called "Nothing Can Stop Us Now." This song is from one of Ashley's favorite rides at Disney. Yeah. Not the answer to the crossword, unfortunately. It's a cute ride about how Mickey and Minnie are planning on having the perfect picnic and how absolutely nothing can go wrong. Yeah, obviously during the ride, of course, everything goes wrong. You know, a peaceful train ride turns hectic as we get derailed from the tracks, caught up in thunderstorms, twisters, and dodge obstacles in downtown traffic. But at the end, everything calms down. And Mickey and Minnie, at the time of the perfect picnic. So I just keep thinking about the wedding, like, that's exactly what happened, you know? So, nothing can stop us now is kind of like the theme of our relationship. No matter what obstacles life throws at us, we can always rely on each other to work through these obstacles. From the small, everyday things, like a bad day at work, or when I use up a roll of paper towels and forget to replace it. It happens a lot. To the bigger challenges, like working through our long-distance relationship throughout college, the loss of our dearest friends and loved ones, and most recently, this hurricane, you know. We've always worked through any challenge together, grown from these challenges, and have blossomed into this amazing relationship that we have today. Ever since we started dating, we've taken on the world together, and nothing can stop us now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. So, around when we got engaged, Damien Young took us out to dinner at this secluded restaurant in St. Petersburg. The ambiance felt like an exclusive jazz club. It was very cool. At the end of the night, after we had finished describing how the proposal went and how exciting it felt to be engaged, I heard this song that we're about to play in the background. I had never heard the song before. I was intrigued by it, so I pulled out Shazam to say the fool. This song describes the love and magic that a couple experiences by living in the moment, free from worries about the future. The joy of dancing, the thrill of music, the passion of romance, these are emotions that we experience in the present. And the title of this song describes the three things that I'm living for in this moment. You, in the night, and the music. Also, just a heads up, this is the hardest song we're playing. I might have wrote it a little bit too fast.
Hey,
Let's see how it goes.
That's just go. Here, which one?
Right. 1, 2, 1. this last song, play one more song. Also, 45 minutes of practice, guys. This last song has become very special to me over the years. It's a very fun song to play and to listen to, and it always seems to bring people together and get people moving. Yeah. And I personally have many great memories involving this song. We played it in the combo during my senior year of high school. I got to see the original composer of this song perform it live in Venice, and I visited the location that this song is about. More recently, exactly 2 weeks before Ashley and I got engaged, our high school jazz band director, sitting right over there, half of us would not be nearly as good as we are without him. He texted Drew and I because he was at this location when he thought of us. And this is 9 years after we graduated. This song has become one of Ashley's favorite jazz songs to listen to and to hear me play it. So now, we present to you our final song, Strasbourg Saint Denis.
Sorry. All right, we'll just run it. We'll go down.
Do it right now.
I need to use it though too. Hey everybody, I'm sorry. Circus will not do this himself. He arranged all 4 of those charts for us. He did all that. So props to him. He won't say it for himself, so I needed to say it. It's amazing.
That's it for us. So whoever's in charge here, whatever's next is next.
Well, folks, at this time we want to invite the newlyweds over towards our arcade to proceed with this very special cutting of the cake.